Bom, se você é daquelas pessoas que é ateu radical e acha que a religião é uma coisa que só provoca guerra, esse episódio é pra você. Bom, meu nome é Fernando Grosten Andrade, eu sou cineasta, eu tô aqui fazendo uma cobertura do Festival de Sundance, é o berço do cinema independente americano, um festival que celebra a diversidade, celebra a cultura LGBT, e hoje eu vou falar sobre o filme vencedor do festival na mostra competitiva dramática, o filme Burden. Foi dirigido pelo diretor Andrew Heckler e conta a história de um membro da Ku Klux Klan, que é uma organização racista que prega o ódio racial principalmente contra os afrodescendentes, que pouco a pouco abandona a organização devido à ação de um pastor negro que, através da sua fé, consegue demover ele da ação racista dele. É importante dizer também que, através de um grande amor, esse personagem consegue se afastar da KKK. Esse filme aconteceu graças à luta de um grande diretor que eu conheci no festival, uma pessoa incrível, uma pessoa que ama São Paulo, inclusive, que lutou muito para esse filme acontecer.
You know, over 20 years, we've been through a lot of different eras and ups and downs and different things that are important, but one thing that's always remained buoyant is this project.
E ele nunca desistiu, lutou muito para o projeto acontecer e finalmente aconteceu.
So I didn't get to introduce the movie, but when I usually do, I tell a little bit about the story. You know, I first heard the story of Mike Burden, Judy Harbison Burden, and the Reverend David Kennedy 20 years ago. And I was so moved by it that I went down there and I went to Lawrence, South Carolina, and I sort of lived amongst these people for over a month, and I got to know them pretty well. I got to know their tears and their laughter and their hate and their love and just who they were. And they were people doing sort of something incredible, and I knew that I had to tell the story. And so I wrote the first draft in 1998, and although I knew I had to tell the story, I just didn't know it would take this long. There was a producer who just recently, very recently, a very good friend of mine passed away, but I knew her all along the way, and she used to always say to me, and she was very small, and she would go, "It's gonna happen when it's supposed to happen." And I said, "Well, it's been 10 years. I'm getting old." And she's like, "Don't worry." And she would always say that to me, and sure enough, I think that it's a pretty good timing. So, the real heroes of the movie are and actually David Kennedy, the Reverend David Kennedy, nuts. Surprised me this morning in Park City. He's here somewhere in Salt Lake City. Who knows what he's doing? So, anybody have any questions? Yes. We had it set up 4 times over the course of 20 years, but set up, like going. One time the company actually didn't have any money and the guy went to jail. Go figure. And that cast was Channing Tatum, Forrest Whitaker, Forrest Whitaker was always there. Channing Forrest, Woody Harrelson, Michelle Monaghan, Anthony Anderson. So that fell apart in 2006. And then we subsequently had the entire cast of the Avengers follow suit, where we went from Jeremy Renner to Chris Evans, to Chris Hemsworth, to Mark Ruffalo, to James Franco, the list goes on and on. So I don't know why it took so long to make. I mean, I guess we needed it now. That's the only thing I can say. I'm a very honest person on the set. When we were filming a lot of these scenes, a lot of them aren't even in the movie. They were outdoors. I used a lot of real people in the movie. I love using real people. I love using the locations.
When we would go location scouting, I would, that's the place. And they was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Pull over." I'd run in, knock on the door. "How you doing? We're making a movie down here, and your place is, we're looking for a chaotic place with a lot of stuff around." And this woman said to me, "So you looking for a shithole?" And I said, "Well, I wouldn't have said that." And she goes, "Because this is a shithole, and if you want to use it, you can." And that's the location we actually used for Plantation Concrete.
Jerry's the furthest thing from racist. Tom is even further. I mean, he's just a beautiful, giving, sweet man. He's nothing like this guy. They were playing a role. They didn't have any problem with it once they got into character. It wasn't that hard for me. working with them. They came in character. I'm glad you pointed that out. If you ever got the chance to meet Mike Burton, Garrett became Mike Burton. It's weird.
The story commands that you put 100% in, that you give it your all, and everybody to a fault. Austin Hebert, Usher, Forrest Whitaker went and spent time on his own with the Reverend Kennedy. They all took it so deeply, so personally. There are certain scenes in the movie where I get confused. I'm watching and I'm like, wow, that's not even Garrett, that's Mike Burton.
Garrett is such an underrated, understated man. He was a constant joker on the set in the middle of a terrible, we had a hell of a good time making a really tough movie. We were dancing a lot. Garrett was, first on the call sheet every day, last to leave every night, always a smile on his face, always ready to work, always ready to do it. So one of the biggest scenes we had to do was the baptism scene. It was very tough, the water was freezing, Garrett was in there all day, and they pull me over again one day and they say, take a deep breath. So I take a deep breath and I say, what's up? And they say, well, guess what? Never happened before, I've done 1,000 movies. The film from the baptism scene got corrupted. It's gone. No one knows how or why, but we don't have it anymore. Like, there's certain things I'll get angry about when someone's screwing around, but like, when that happens, you just say, okay, so what are we gonna do about it? And they said, well, we're gonna do insurance, we're gonna get another day on the set. Great. Insurance comes, another day, we're back at the baptism. Reverend Kennedy came. So before we had to do that, when we lost the footage, they all said, who's gonna tell Garrett? I said, well, I guess I'm gonna tell Garrett. He has to go back into, freezing cold water for 8 hours. So I go up and Garrett had told me this macho man Minnesota story. Yeah, me and my brothers used to play this game where we take a cigarette and we put it between our 2 forearms and whoever pulls away first is the loser. So I said, well, that sounds like a fun game. And then he goes, hey, I go, light a cigarette. And he goes, really? And I go, yeah, light a cigarette, let's go. So he lights a cigarette, we put it between our arms, and him and I just stare at each other and watch this thing go away. And if you can see it, there it is. That was an enormous scar that kept bubbling and bubbling and bubbling. And Garrett goes to the makeup trailer and they came running to the producer going, they're crazy, I don't want to work with these people. But we went back and we reshot that baptism scene. Garrett was very impressed that I did that and got back in the water. And as we're shooting the baptism scene again, I'm watching the video monitor and I see Forrest in the water and he starts to go like this. And I'll be honest, I'm like, okay, what the hell is he doing? And then all of a sudden screaming. One of the women in the choir passed out, fainted, bam, dead on the ground. Ambulances, 911, insanity, people everybody thought she was dead. Forrest, everybody's freaked out. Again, baptism scene, gone, low budget movie, no time left, we're gonna die. So as we're leaving, I told everybody to go home. I'm like, okay, I know we should probably try to finish it, but go home, let's call it a day. This is very traumatic, and I think you all need to go home. Crystal, who plays Forrest's wife, and if you've ever met her in person, she is fierce. And she comes up to me and she looks at me and she goes, Andrew, you have to keep going with this movie because there are forces out there that are working against this thing getting done. So you got something good, son. So you continue going. Don't let the dark forces beat you. And I'm looking at this. And I'm like, okay, I said, that's great. Appreciate that. You're freaking me out. But we went for round 3 and got the baptism scene done, and that's the scene you see there. Life is more complicated than a movie. Mike and Judy are still friends. Mike went to prison. Judy's a single mom. She wrote him and said, hey, he said, go do your thing. She couldn't hack it with him in jail. He's gainfully employed. He's no longer a racist. I was down there with him not too long ago. He he's doing his best. He's in a great relationship. He's married, and he's living a great life. I mean, compared to what he had. So the movie sort of gave him, you know, a second chance at life, and he's taking it. Judy's great. She texted me just a little while ago and said, "Sweetheart, I'm so proud of you in the movie, and sweetheart this," and that's the way she talks, and she's that person. She's awesome. And she's got 2 great kids. They're both great. Her daughter is fantastic, Stacey Harbison. In fact, it was Stacey that led me to Judy. All those years ago, Judy did not want to be found. And I had to track down Stacey at a gas station, and I called and I said, "Hi, I'm looking for Judy," and the woman on the other end of the phone said, "I know who you are. Why do you want to find my mother?" And I told her, and she said, "I'll tell you what, call me again tomorrow at this time." So I called her again the next day, and she said, "Tell you what, I spoke to my mama, and she said she will see you, but you have to come to this gas station, you have to follow me." So I followed her, and I followed her down a long, winding road, and I followed her into the woods, and I followed her back into the backwoods, and I thought to myself, I must be the stupidest human being on the planet to be doing this. But I got there, and Judy was there, and she was unbelievably friendly, and she told me everything about her life, and it was, she's just an amazing, amazing woman. And so they're all great, and they're doing real well.
É isso, espero que vocês tenham gostado. Semana que vem tem mais. Se você está acompanhando a gente no Facebook, só no YouTube a gente tem todo o nosso conteúdo organizado. A gente tem um episódio sobre The Guilty, que foi o filme vencedor da Mostra Competitiva Internacional. Também tivemos um episódio falando sobre o Ferrugem, de um grande diretor brasileiro chamado Ali Muritiba. Tem também um episódio com o Rodrigo Santoro, e o Rodrigo está num filme cubano que chama Um Tradutor. Tem também outros episódios do canal, tem uma série sobre as manifestações LGBT na arte com a Vivi Eu Vi, com participação especial do Michael Santini. Se você curtiu, dê like, compartilhe, comente. Semana que vem tem mais. Muito obrigado!